Hey Flosstube, it is Michelle McGraw from Made by Michelle McGraw, and this is Flosstube number 28. Welcome everyone. So first of all, I want to thank all of my new subscribers. I got a bunch of new subscribers from my last video. My last video had the most views in any of the videos that I've ever done. So thank you. Thank you for taking time to spend with me. I film as though you and I are sitting across the table chatting about cross stitch. And so I love chatting with everybody and interacting on YouTube and on Instagram. I am on Instagram at Made by Michelle McGraw. Very, very easy. And so I love interacting with everybody. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you if you're a returning viewer. Welcome back, friends. Like and subscribe, do all the things. Thank you. I just want to start off this video with saying that with the COVID situation, I chose to keep my floss tube just stitching. And that was a decision that I made. A lot of people just wanted a place to escape from everything that was going on. So I'm going to keep the same attitude with what's going on right now across the United States and just say prayers and thoughts and everybody stay safe. So we're going to jump into stitching because that's what we're here for. And I want to still keep true to that platform of this is a release from everything that's going on. So prayers and thoughts. Let's get to the stitching. Okay. So I have some finishes. I have some sewing. I have a lot of haul. Boy. And I have a giveaway, so stick around, and I also have a giveaway winner, and I will announce all that. So let me go through with my finishes first. So I'm going to try to show you this in my bowl that I have. This sits on my kitchen table, and it is my dough bowl. And so I made some pillow finishes. Oh, they're sliding. Okay, let me show them individually. This is not full yet. I am still stitching to fill it up, and I will continue to stitch to fill it up. But I did little pillow finishes for some stitching. Flosstube or YouTube, grab that. It won't, just so you know. Okay, so this is my Outlander pattern. It doesn't really go with the other themes, but I have stitched this up. The pattern is from Good Morning Maui on Etsy, and I've had it done for a really long time, and I wanted to finish it. So it got finished and it went in the bowl. These pillow finishes are a little different from me that I use the poly pellets. This is the first time I've used poly pellets to finish mini pillows, and I really like them for my dough bowl. I don't think I will do ornaments that way because they are a little weighty to put on the Christmas tree. So I won't do ornaments that way, but they are really good for my dough bowl. And when I put them down, like I had it arranged when I first showed you, so you could see all of them. Obviously that's going to fill in more, but I like how they really stand up if I want them to stand up. So this is Outlander from Good Morning Maui. I stitched this on 14, let me make sure, 14 count Murky from Picture This Plus. You all know that is my favorite fabric. Love it. And it looks good on so many stitching projects. I'm always surprised how good it looks. I just love Murky. Murky's one of my favorites. So if you don't know Outlander, you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it. It's fantastic. So I did finish these a little different. I normally do Vanna's tutorial where you sew an opening in the back and then you stitch it up, hand stitch it. I decided to do a tutorial from Hands On Designs, and I think a lot of people do pillow finishes this way where you cut a slit in the back after you sew it and then you put a patch on it and some little decorative stuff. So I have a little teapot, and then what is this? This is a clock because she went back in time, and the teapot because they have tea over there all the time. So Outlander, I'm using up some little trinkets that I had. It's a fun little finish. This is one of the materials that I showed on my material haul last week. I did it in 2 videos. Excuse me. This is from Spoonflower on Etsy, and they do printed material, and I use that to finish the back. There's a hair, sorry. So I just put a little piece of felt. I used fabric glue. I have the, I don't know what you call them, but they're the little pages that you can get that are double-sided adhesive. I'm actually going to try that next. My fabric glue does make it a little stiff on this part, so I'm not 100% satisfied with that, but I'm still working on it. It's all that I had at the time, so there you go. So that was my first pillow, and I'm sticking it in this bowl because, quite frankly, Outlander is awesome, and it's going in the bowl. Okay, the next pillow I will show you is a little mini pillow that I did with our last name on it and the year, and then I just included from the same patterns, let me hold it up like that, from the same pattern, the sheep and the star and the alphabet were all in. Let me show you that. A lot of these are coming from Heartstring Samplery, Festive Little Fobs. This is the Barnyard edition. So I've been working on these. But it also has an alphabet in here. So I'm going to also put my boys' names, just for something fun. These have been done on scrap pieces of fabric. So I have tons of little scraps, and I'm just doing it as something fun to put in my dough bowl. So I'm gonna put my kids' names on one, finish them. This one was my first one that I did, and I put a little piece of felt back there, and I didn't like the way it looked, so then I did a patch, and I kind of, it's laying funny, I did a patch and I frayed it, and then I also just put some little buttons on there. I think you can see them. These are all from Stash that I had. So I just thought that was something fun and cute to put in my little dough bowl for the family. So you will see a lot of patterns come from these. They do not take long to stitch up. They are pretty small. I'll try to show you in my hand how they are so you can get a reference. I have small hands, so just so you know, like I have smaller, my hands are on the small side, so they are tiny. I'm doing them all on 14 count because I'm trying to get them as big as I can. I actually wanted to stitch them and put fabric down at the bottom to make the pillows bigger. But then when I did this little one, I just liked it so much that they were little. I didn't do that. So I didn't do the fabric thing that everybody, and thank you for all the suggestions. I did go and watch them, and I had a lot of great tutorials. And so I was able to find out, that's actually how I found to do the little slit in the back with the patch on it. It makes sewing them really, really easily. Here are the pigs from that same pattern. Whoops, I should actually do it where the P is in the correct position. And once again, it's from that pattern. It makes sewing them easier because you just literally sew them right sides together, and then you slit the back, and that's how you turn it and you fill it. But then you have to cover up you have to stitch it up and then cover it up. So I did like a little patch from some of the material. This is homespun, so I frayed it. That's not showing up great on the camera, but it's all frayed on the end. And then I had these little charms that say 2020, and I actually got that idea from Helen D, and she put those on her ornaments. And I bought a pack off of Amazon, and I think they're like $5-6 for a pack, and it has more than I would ever need. So I was trying to use some of them up. So there is the little pigs. Okay, so here is the size of them. They fit in the palm of my hand. So while they're not teeny, teeny, tiny, they are small. But I think once I do more, I actually really liked this size. So, okay, this is one that I had in my stash pile. It has a string on it that was already done. This is from an older chart that I did. I think I've showed this before, but I actually finished it. I want to say it is a Debbie Mum chart, but I could be wrong. I don't have the chart. It was actually my sister's chart. So I finished it into the little mini pillow because it actually goes with the farm yarn stuff. So I really like it. That was done on oatmeal years ago, and I want to say that is 16 count oatmeal. So I just did the patch and some buttons. So that was a fun one. This is the first one I stitched. So I stitched the chicken first of those patterns. Now I'm back to the Festive Little Fobs patterns. On these, I have used 14 count Tyco from Picture This Plus. I have just used scraps. So that's why some of them are a little different. I actually like the way it looks in my bowl, that there's a little bit different fabric. So I'm keeping that in mind. I had trouble with the sheep on Tyco. So I actually outlined the sheep a little bit. So that's something I'm going to keep in mind. So if I need to change the fabric, I figured out that I like the way it looks in my dough bowl with different fabrics. So I'm just going to do it. So another hair. These have some little gears that I had. And these were left over from scrapbooking, and I just went in my little container and picked some out, and it's nice to be able to use some of that stuff. Okay, so this is my absolute favorite one, and it is the little tractor, and that tractor is adorable. I think I'm going to stitch this tractor in 2 more colors as well, because I just love this. So there is a blue tractor company, and I cannot remember what the name. Ford, is that the Ford ones? And then there are obviously green for John Deere green. So I'm going to do a couple more tractors because I just think they're cute. I will change the border color just to give them something different, but I just love the tractors so much. We're doing more tractors. Okay, and then the last one that I have is the goat on top of the barn with the little sheep. The sheep on there, I wish I had backstitched him a little bit, because once again, he blends in with the Tyco a little bit. In person, he stands out more, but as you can see, he does blend in. Where when I did just a little bit of backstitching, he stands out more. So I didn't backstitch this one. I learned. So anyhow, this one has some little acorns and a honeycomb, or a, what do you call those? Pine cone on the back. Once again, just left over from my cross stitching. But I love that it gives each one of them something little individual to do. And I just attach them with these antique pins. I don't know if you could see those. Let me put a piece of paper behind it so you can see it really good. I don't have a white piece. Oh wait, yes I do. Hold on, let me get my book out and then I will show you a white piece of paper behind it. Let me see. It's hard to see what you guys can see. Okay, can you see the pen now? Maybe? No? There. So they're kind of rounded. I found them on Amazon, antique pins, and I just bought some of those so I could clip on stuff. Okay, so in keeping with that, I actually have some more of these done. I haven't finished them yet. There's the horse. And here are the sheep. And as you can see, I did this on a scrap. This is another scrap of Murky. I finished this last night. It's just the sheep in the circles, just like the pigs. I did mine a little differently. I put the red on it instead of the called for color, and then I just did a thing in the center. I think it has a letter in the center, but I didn't stitch that because I didn't want the letters on there. So I just did a little decorative little stitch on the side in the middle. Those will get finished into little pillows as well. There is one more, and it's the stack of animals right there. And what was bothering me was this cow's face. I call it the hippopotamus cow. Can you see his face? He looks like a hippopotamus to me. I don't know. I'm probably gonna do it. I think he's like a primitive cow. And I think that's what was, the cow was just bothering me. So he's going to be called the hippopotamus cow, and I got to stitch him up. I'm going to stitch some more tractors up, and then I'm going to stitch my kids' names, and I'll be done with this pattern, and I will move on to the next festive fobs that I have to do. I have a lot. I showed those last week in my Flosstube. If you are interested, go check those out. They are awesome patterns. Okay, so now we'll get to some sewing. I did get some sewing other than finishing done on Saturday, and so I will show some of those bags. Once again, my bags are from Pfeiffer's Tutorial. I am getting really bad sun now. Pfeiffer's Tutorial, and these are the project bags, the envelope project bags. So if you are interested in sewing those, go check out Pfeiffer. And I do mine in different sizes, mainly based on the fabric that I have. And sometimes I want a bigger bag, so I do it a little bit bigger. And then I have started to what I call fake quilting, although many of you are so sweet to say that I am doing fantastic, and thank you so much for that. I am learning. I am a beginner sewer, and I am trying very hard to learn. So these bags are a great way for me to practice some quilting, if you want to say. And the reason why I say fake quilting is because there is not batting in here, there is thick interfacing. So it's not a batting, but there is some interfacing to give it bulk and a little bit to give it some body. I like when I quilt them because it gives the fabric a little bit more body than being loose, if that makes sense. So with this one, I did a variegated purple thread. Let me show you the back because it's always easier to see it without the flaps. Whoops, upside down. And you can see a little bit of a purple thread. I really like variegated thread when I do these. I don't know. But anyhow, this is the pattern. It is witches, but I love her cat. Look at her cat beside her. Love that. And then on the inside, I did some skull fabric, but I did it upside down. I'm a rookie. Oh well, these are for me. It's no big deal. Although I did do a bag that I cannot show because I already gave it to my niece. It's an ECU bag, and I will post it to my Instagram later today. So I sewed it for her. That is the college that she's transferring to. She goes to UNCC right now, and she is transferring to ECU next year. And she has a super secret project that she's working on, and I thought she needed an ECU project bag to put her stitching in. So I will show that on Instagram. Check that out there. Okay, this is my poo bag. So I had this material, loved it. It's so soft. The inside is just yellow. And on this one, I just randomly did some lines, some X's on it. Just randomly to give it a little bit. This was not my favorite way to do it, but I was playing. It was fun. There you go. So there's my poo bag. Okay, this one I did, this is some fabric from Freeman. Wait a minute. It was my Freeman's Creative. So you can go to Freeman's Creative. I did my fabric haul. This was not included because it was already cut out, but this is some great octopuses. I love these, and you can't see it on camera, but the octopuses have like a metallic sheen to it where the gold is, and I really love this. So this is a bigger bag. It's a little bit wider. I did do quilting with a variegated gray thread, so you can see how the variegation is. And I just did free-handed waves on this one. And you can see the inside fabric is just some polka dot gray. Okay, so this is fabric. I do not remember where I bought this from. I don't remember. So it's actually called Cat. As my husband says, the dozer is a Komatsu, and the other ones are toys. They're not actually equipment, because my husband knows these things. He also will tell me sometimes on a construction magazine that the front cover, you could take a picture and you could flip it, like flip sides. And he's like, the boom is on the wrong side of the track hoe. And I'm like, what? And he's like, they flipped the image. And he was like, that's not the way the track hoe looks. And I would have never picked up on it, but he does. And it's weird because it's been on the front cover several times. They've done this on an equipment magazine. You should know that that's not the way that piece of equipment actually looks. It's very strange. But anyhow, so he was like, yeah, none of that's cat. And I was like, well, that's what it was called. And he's like, yep, it's not. And I was like, well, okay. So I did little trucks on the inside. Actually, it's upside down again. See what happens? So my pattern on the inside normally is not directional, and these two, I had two of them and I didn't pay attention and I put it upside down. Anyhow, this one I actually played. Oh, I have another one. I will show it next time. I have another one that I played with stitches, and if you can see their quilting right there, it's a let me see. You'll be able to see it on the lining a little bit better. So can you see this quilting stitch? So my machine has preset quilting stitches in it, and I was playing with them. So that was a lot of fun, and there's like 3 or 4 pages on my machine, and I can't wait to play with more. So this was kind of my, let me play with some of these preset ones, but I really liked that one too. And if you don't know, we own a construction company, so that is why we always have something construction in our house. Okay, this is one that has been sitting on my sewing table for the longest time, and it is squirrels. I just thought it was a sweet pattern, and the inside fabric is matchy-matchy. I did free-handing quilting with that, just in lines. So that was kind of fun to play. I have one more bag that I did. I will show that next Flosstube. So let me make a note for the next one. Okay, so I did a specialty stitch on that, and that was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed that. But I didn't bring it. It's in a separate pile because it is a gift for somebody. So, okay, let me show you some stitching other than my festive little fobs, which I already showed you the 2 that I've stitched up. I'm working on another one. Those are finishes, working on another one, but I did work on some other whips. So I will show those. It's only been a week. And last time I was here, I said it was almost the end of Stitch Mania, and I didn't think I was going to start anything else, and I lied. So I did start some other stuff. So I had, this is called the Addams Family from Little Stitcher, and I started on it. I think I showed this last time. I'm not sure that I had done anything. So this is Morticia. I will be finishing these into mini pillows for my dough bowl for Halloween. Individually, everybody on the pattern and the house will all be a little mini pillow. So Morticia is done. She's so cute. I love her. Great pattern. And then I have started the house. So that's where I'm at on that one. It's a really fun stitch. I want to get this done before Halloween, so that is going to be something that I work very hard to get done. Okay, so this next project is another start that I had. And this is all of the fault of Deb from Country Stitchers. Deb is so sweet. Let me see if I have a picture of this, but she showed her start and I was like, oh my gosh, it is so awesome. I need to do that. I don't think I have a whole picture of it. That's the problem. So yeah, I don't have a whole picture of it. This is a long banner. And let me try to show you all the parts. Because when you print it out, she doesn't show you the whole banner all the way. There's not a page that printed that has it like that. It is online. This is from By the Bay Needle Art. This is Serenity Harbor Sampler. So this is part 1, right up here. All right, let me go to my pattern here. Okay, this is part 2. So the bottom of the sun coming down. Part 3. Part 4, we start to get in the gist of it. Isn't that pretty? If you've never done a By the Bay Needle Art, they do some very unique coloring, and I just love it. Here's part 5. Look at that little house. Yeah, I just showed you part 5. Apparently I printed part 5 twice. I don't know why. Part 6. And she has a blog post about this that you can go see the whole thing done. Part 7. Part 8. Part 9. Part 10. Part 11. And there are some alternates for part 12, but I will show you the main part because I don't think she actually has a photo picture of the alterations for part 12. It's just a chart. Oh, wait a minute, where's part 12? I am missing the piece of paper, the little header that shows me part 12, I think. Okay, I'm missing that page, which has the coloring on it. It basically is the bottom of the border. So just like on part 1, you had this top flower, it does that on the bottom. So, sorry I don't have a better picture of that. I wish I had a whole picture of it. When I printed out the PDF, I didn't realize that she didn't give you like a cover picture for it. So I don't have that, but it is online and I have it on my phone, which I'm recording with. Okay, so that is all of the string. Let me show you, and you can get an idea of how big this is. Now, I always do a 3-inch border. So this is a big piece of fabric. This is, no, wait a minute. I'm gonna tell you wrong. I think this is 18 count, so let me look. In case you're interested in it. Okay. Okay, this is 18 count Sosanak from Fabrics by Stephanie. It is a beautiful fabric. So if you can see, it has greens and pinks in it. And I had a strip of it that was left off of another cut that I did. So it was actually the perfect size, and it was the perfect, I actually have more of this fabric because I ordered a big piece of it and I've kind of just cut it and pieced it together. So I have quite a nice border on here, but here's my start. the flower. That was a one-day Stitch Mania start. Look at my needle minder. Is it not perfect? Yes, it is. That is from Etsy, and I love it. Love, love, love. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to bring my needle minders. I actually got some new needle minders, and I forgot to bring them in. I'm sorry. I'll try to show some of them on my Instagram. How about that? I'll try to show some of those. Okay, so that is a new project. Let's see, what else do I have? I have a very unusual project that I've started. So, let me move this out of the way. I had these bags made, Liam Loves You, EWE, and I had her custom make me these big project bags. I showed them before. This is my Game of Thrones one. And I just asked her what materials she had. We picked it out. She did dimensions for me. I love them for my great big projects that have a lot of floss and just a lot of everything. A lot of material. They fit really good in these bags. Okay, so I have tons of stuff with this to show. This is my unusual project, and I was inspired by Rachel, and I am going to find her name and link it. She is on Instagram, and she has done I think she calls hers a tapestry, and she has a whole blog, and it's beautiful. And I have thought about doing this in different ways, and seeing Rachel's kind of put it together for me, how I could do it. So basically, this is a family heritage sampler that I'm doing for my family. I'm going to show you my start, and then I will explain it. So there's a church. This is done on 36 count. Hold on, because I actually have my information in a separate notebook for this one. This is 36 count winter brew linen from R&R, and I have an entire yard of fabric here. Okay, so lots and lots of fabric. A tiny little church. What am I doing, right? Okay, so let me explain, and I'll show you this as I go. Oh, that's a Gone with the Wind needle minder. Love it. Okay, I'm losing my voice. So let me show you my color palettes. I am doing all color and cotton floss, and I picked some of every color, but in the more muted, not bright shades. So there is every color in here, so that as I work on this, I can pull. I need a pink, I can pull from a couple pinks that I've chosen. I need a blue, I have a couple blues. I am waiting for Color and Cotton to restock so that I can order more of their floss, because I am loving Color and Cotton's floss. It is very, very pretty floss. I don't know if I can, excuse me, if it even shows up. Let me show you a purple. The variegation is so pretty on their floss, and it doesn't show up on camera. That is Lava Stone. I love their floss. So I'm waiting for them to restock, and I will be placing a bigger order because I'm in love. In love with their floss. Okay, so the first part of that is a wedding part that I'm going to add me and my husband's name. So where I have been kind of stuck is, how was I going to put this all together? My family heritage sampler is going to be bits and pieces of lots of different patterns, but I'm using them because they represent something in my life, in my family's life. So for the first part, and I am noting all of the charts that I'm using, which is why I have a whole notebook dedicated to this, so that I can, if I show it, I can adequately say, well, this piece came from here. So these are all patterns that I have purchased from my stash that I went through, and this is my first round of pulling stuff that I want. If I figure something else out that I want to add, I will go back through and pull more. This is Country Cottage Needleworks to Have and to Hold. And there's the church that I'm using. Now, I love this as a wedding sampler, and I keep wedding samplers. I never get rid of them because you never know when you need to do a gift for somebody. But there's the church that I'm going to add on to my project. I also like the bride and groom, although I would change the bride's hair darker, and I would change the groom's hair darker because Clint's hair is darker. I don't know if I'm going to add them on. I'm going to put our wedding date, our names, all on there. It's going to be a sample of a lot of different things. So it's going to have a mix of all different things. Stay with me. I also have the Stitchy Box Actworth School Motif Pattern Book. And if you can find this, this is so awesome. So there's alphabets in here. There are little Quaker motifs. I'm just flashing them because they're patterns. They're no pictures. And those will be added into my sampler in various areas. So this is going to come in handy as well. This is what started me. This was my idea, was I was going to create my own Quaker. Then I liked the fact that it was going to be more of a sampler because it's going to have different things. So let me show you some things that I've pulled out of my stash. I have them in a little 31 file folder that I can easily go to, and I can pull out and put them on my sampler when I want them. So this is an alphabet book. I've had it for a long time. There's different alphabets in here. Lots of, actually there's a folded up really old pattern in here. I don't know what this is even from. I don't know. Anyhow, very old from my stash. This one is another alphabet, lovely letters, and I am actually going to use it for this curly Q alphabet. I'm going to put our last name on our sampler. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, I want to put our last name in the middle and then kind of just put everything out. My idea is like, I will have our wedding date. I will have a boat for our cruise that we took on our honeymoon. I might put the destination that we went. I want to put the birth of my children. I want to put our dogs. I want to put our cat. We've had cats over the years. I currently have one, but we've had 2 other cats. I want to put, any of those things. When we bought our property for our business, when we bought our farm, all of these kind of things I want to put on the sampler. So that's where I'm pulling in for, from. So when I was thinking about putting our name on it, I was like, oh, I'll put it in the center. And then I got to thinking, no Quakers are done like that. Like the lettering isn't exactly center. And I think because when people design them, I'm not a designer, so just FYI, they design it in bits and bobs. So if they push it off center, it doesn't look odd. And I thought, oh, I need to go off center with our name. So I'm going to do our last name in this curly Q alphabet on our sampler. Okay, so this is antique style samplers, but there are, I think I have this in there because there are some patterns in here. This is a book, probably found on Amazon. This is from Jane Greenoff. Yes. So that has some things I'll pull from there. This is another sampler motif book that I have. This is also on, it's the sampler motif book from Brenda Keys. It was also found on Amazon. And it does have bits and pieces that I will add to there. Not everything is going to go in there. Okay, so this is sampler number 1 from Tralala, but I liked the bunnies. So, funny story, when my husband and I first got married, he had a bunny hutch. He built it. So over the years he had bunnies, and he learned that you had to have like wire on the bottom of the cage so predators couldn't get for them from underneath. All of this stuff. He had this beautiful hutch, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get bunnies, and I'm going to put them in this hutch, and I'm going to have bunnies, and they're going to love me, and it's going to be fabulous. It didn't work out like that. So we went to the flea market, and we got some bunnies, and I'm pretty sure that whoever sold us these bunnies had gone out in their yard and caught wild bunnies, because these bunnies had not been handled. So we got 3 bunnies, because, you know, they have to have a friend, and we brought them home, and I put them in the hutch. The problem is I could lay down deep into the hutch. Literally, I could lay in the hutch and not touch the back, because my husband built it thinking they'll have a lot of room to run around, which is fantastic, right? What's not fantastic about that idea is when I would go out there and I would open up the door to the hutch and I would bring them treats. I would bring them alfalfa and yogurt drops and all this kind of stuff. Those jokers wanted nothing to do with me. They didn't want me to pet them. They didn't want me to hold them. They ran to the back of the hutch, which I couldn't reach unless I laid in it. Not laying in the hutch after bunnies have been doo-dooing, and sometimes the doo-doo sticks in there and then it has to fall down. I tried every day. I would go out there and I would spend hours with these jokers. They wanted nothing to do with me. So being a bunny mommy, I was not successful. So I will be adding bunnies to my heritage sampler. And I thought those little bunnies were really cute. I know, funny, huh? Okay, I don't remember why I picked this, but it's one here. It's Prairie Life Sampler from Heartstring Samplery. I might have liked the border. I don't know. I don't remember why I pulled it, but there's some little people. Yeah, so there's some horses, which I will not be putting on our sampler because unless I put hay burner underneath it, because that's my husband's name for horses. They're called hay burners. Yeah, he doesn't want horses. He's like, nope, don't want horses. We have worked around horse people and like delivered them material and stuff for their horse barn all of his life, and he was like, horse people are the most particular people when it comes to it, and he was like, no. he doesn't want horses. Okay, this is a free part pattern from Barbara Anna. So I can show the pattern. It was actually provided by Cyber Stitches. It is goat sampler, and my husband had goats when we first got together. So I'm going to add some goats. I actually, he had a goat that broke her leg, and he took her to the vet. I don't remember how she broke her leg. Like, that was when we first started dating. So she had already been, I think she was still in the feed room when I started dating him. But she had broke her leg and took her to the vet, and the vet's like, well, we'll set it, but it's a goat. And a lot of times, you know, you have them out in a field and they don't do well with broken limbs. And so, you know, do what you can, keep it dry and clean, and, you know, we'll see. And he took her back to the vet in 6 or 8 weeks, whatever it was, to get the cast taken off or cleaned or something like that. And the vet was like, where do you have this goat? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, it's clean. It looks fantastic. And he was like, oh, I put her in the feed room in the barn away from the other goats. Like, she's on a wooden floor and I just go in there and sweep it out. And he's like, but she's in the feed room. So he was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So because she broke her leg, Missy was very, very friendly, and she got used to them opening up the feed door and coming in and feeding her, and you could call her and she would come. She was a sweet, sweet goat. And so, like, we would come in the door in the driveway, and she would like pop her head out of the feed room because it had a half door, so she could pop her head out and see people coming up and down the driveway because she really liked that. So there'll be a goat on my family heritage sampler. Okay, this one I pulled. I liked the saying on it, and I liked the font, but I don't know if I'm going to use it. But it says family forever, for always, no matter what. And I liked the word family, but I don't know if I'm going to use that or not. But it's a really pretty sampler just to do. This is from Waxing Moon Designs. It's really pretty if you just stitched it like it is. But this is the ones that I pulled out just to use some. This is a River Drift house from River Drift Needleworks. It's a reproduction sampler. It is boats. And so I said we went on a cruise, and so I thought maybe I could pick out, even though this is not the way our cruise ship looked, it still signifies a boat, and I would put it on there. I have this one out here, and I have no earthly idea now why I had it out here. This is Life After Death Long Dog Sampler. I may pick out a couple of elements, but I don't know. We'll see. Once again, this is all very fluid. So I picked this out for the church, but then I used another church, but I still kept it out. Let's see, why did I want this one? Oh, I think I liked the little angel right here. And because I've had a beloved dog that passed away, I thought that that would be really cute to put on there. That is from Shakespeare Peddler. So, like I said, I'm just looking sometimes at some things. So these are ones that this is a Scottish Love sampler. This is another Long Dog sampler. I think I pulled this because the boats. I actually like these boats too, so I pulled them out. I figured I could decide. This is the family sampler from Little House Needleworks. I love the border, but I also like the people and the little dogs, so I figured I would keep that one out because that's a really nice one. I'd like to stitch this normally, but I'd like to add some elements maybe to my family heritage sampler. Not sure why I pulled this one out. Might be the border, might be the house, might be the people, might be the dogs. I don't know, but it's really pretty. From Teresa Kogert, and this is Faith, Hope, Peace, Love. I will put something stitching on there. So this is a free pattern, but it is all from overseas. So I can't read the name. Unfortunately, they don't have it converted. Yeah, this is a free pattern that I got online, but it's from overseas. So, but there's stitching stuff. And so I really like that. I'll probably add some stitching stuff in there because I stitch. This is the Hanes sampler. And I liked the cows. I like a lot of stuff on here. So I stuck that in there to try to pull some pieces out of there. And it could be as simple as I like this frame, so I have it already charted for me. I may not put the same thing in the frame, but I have a frame. This one, I love, love, love the border. I will not do it in that color, but I love the border on this one. And that is Keziah Campbell, 1796, sorry. I love the border on that one. That border is fantastic. So, I love all that. Let's see, what else do I have? I've pulled out Helen Kaliski. The border, maybe. Maybe the house. I like the trees on this one too. See the little trees down there? I think I just murdered her name too. Sorry. We'll move on. The Stitching Life. This is from Heartstring Samplery. Once again, it has some little stitching stuff, so I wanted to make sure I add some stuff in there about it. And this was just going through my my patterns just a quick glance through. And this was only like my sampler drawer that I have. So there's more. So I like Never Let You Go from Heartstring Samplery. Lots of good elements in there. This is Be Kind Always from Heartstring Samplery. Lots of good elements. This is from the Scarlet House, Jane Cowie and Cowie. Sorry. I want to say Cowley, but it's not. Cowie. I love the border on this one, but I also really want to work in the bird because I like the bird. Heartstring Samplery, Consider the Lilies. And if you know this pattern, you know that there are tons and tons of elements in there. So I pulled that out to take a look at that. And then this is from Hello from Liz Matthews. This is the AL Motif Sampler. And I want to stitch this like it is, but I also like the elements in here. So I thought about pulling that out and seeing if I use any of those. So that is just my little go-to bag that I have for that project. It's obviously going to take me years to work on that project. I am in no hurry, and I'm just going to pull things that I like and enjoy. Okay, that gets me down to some stash that I got. And some of this stuff was ordered for a really long time. Oh, just going back to the family heritage, I have this book. I'm going to be writing down the bits and pieces of charts so I can give people credit for their charting that I'm doing. But I think that this is such a fun project to tell my family story in a piece. Those charts, some of those charts I want to stitch right away into like how they're charted. But I also like pulling out pieces and putting them on my sampler. I'm not a designer. I'm not a charter. The work is already done for me. I just have to stitch it on there. I'm not selling my family piece. It is going to go on my wall for my family. And I hope that my kids look and say, oh my gosh, here's my name and my date of birth. And like Owen, my middle son, when we were in Vegas for the Con Expo one year, it's every 3 years and we've gone every year. My husband's gone before we got married, and we've been married 20 plus years. You know, that's my quip saying. I always say 20 plus, so I'm never wrong, because I can't remember. But he swallowed one of the little watch batteries. Yes, he had it in his mouth. I don't know why. He was old enough not to know to put it in his mouth. He had it in his mouth. He looked up to look at something, and the battery went down. So we spent 3 days in a Vegas hotel, me and him, because there was no place for my other son. No, I had two. Because Jesse was born by then. And my husband was supposed to be at the show. There was nothing we could do. We were just, they were giving him Go Lightly, which, as my sister, who's a nurse, says, Go Lightly is, whoever created it, is their joke. It should be called Go Often and Like Water. So they were pushing that through him to try to get the battery out. The battery was going back and forth. At one point, it is a colon, because your colon can squeeze. This is more than anybody asked for. Your colon can squeeze stuff out, but it can't squeeze down on itself. So if you have a little tiny thing in your colon, it can only squeeze so much. It can't squeeze all the way down. And so this little thing was going back and forth, and he wasn't eating because they were doing the Go Lightly through his nose in a tube. And he would go to eat, and the tube would move, and then he would sneeze all of his food, and he didn't like that. And I mean, he was probably 7 or 8 at the time. He was not happy. And so they were pushing that for 3 days, and I finally told the doctor, either this is an emergency to get it out of him, because by the time we got into the emergency room, it had passed from his stomach into his bowels. They could not go in his bowels to get it. They had done the scope down his throat. It had already moved. They couldn't get it. So then we had to chase it the other way. So finally on the 3rd day, I talked to the original doctor that put us in there, This hospital lost power for a couple hours. They lost water for a couple hours while we were there. Try to entertain a 7-8-year-old that doesn't want to be in the bed. Yeah, he was 7, 8. Yeah, somewhere in there. 7, 8, somewhere in there. It was awful. I finally plugged in my computer to the emergency plug that ran the bed because I was like, he's not adjusting his bed. My computer died. I need to entertain this child. And we sat there and watched YouTube videos of a gummy bear that sings. I don't know, but he thought it was very funny, so I was all for that. I was like, okay, good deal. So anyhow, they ended up doing on the last day a colonoscopy to go in and get it. Luckily, there was no damage. It had not eroded to the side of his stomach or his colon or his intestines, because that is the problem with a new battery, that it can erode to the side of their stomach because it still has juice left in it, and that's what it does in the human body, and it creates a hole, and then you have an issue. So we didn't want there to be a hole anywhere that's not supposed to be, so we had to get that battery out. And so they finally did go in with the colonoscopy. They grabbed it within, colonoscopy, you wake up very quickly. He was awake. They were like, we need him to eat before he can leave. He ate. He was like, let's go. And he was ready to go. So he has a very interesting story. We had the battery sealed in a container for a long time. I did throw that battery away because I was like, this is just gross. It was clean, but it was in a sealed container because he took it to school. He took it to school for show and tell. I mean, he was like in lower elementary. He took it to school after we got back. And then, I also have pictures from the colonoscopy of his colon. So I tell him in the future, when he's dating, I can show his future wife the inside of his butt because I have pictures of his colon. Yes, that's the kind of mom I am. Yeah. When you do something stupid, it's going to come back to haunt you. That was 3 days of hell in that hospital. Not to mention the conditions were awful, but I also was so worried about my child that I didn't want to be harmed for life. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, that's our hospital story that nobody asked me for. I'm sorry. Okay. I just got this book. I have not opened it yet. This is a Donna Cooler's 550 cross-stitch sampler motifs. So I have not even looked through this one. It came the other day. It's from Amazon. Let me see if I can just flip through and find oh my goodness, there's some very, 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 very cute animals. Let's see if I can show. Oh my gosh. There's a cavalier. I don't think that's in the sampler, but I have cavaliers, so. Okay, so there's some animals in a sampler. Let's see if I can find anything else in here. Oh yes, they have patterns. They do have patterns for a cavalier, so that will be going on there. It's actually a pattern, so I don't want to show you the actual they don't have like a picture of the pattern. Some alphabets. Here's a Christmas sampler. So far, this looks like a good book. I'm going to enjoy this later on and look at it, but it is going in my basket for my family heritage sampler for some motifs. Okay, I have some more haul, and I'm going to get to. This is Harbor Haven from By the Bay Needle Art. This is another sampler, but instead of going in a, what do you call that? Like in a vertical. This one goes in horizontal. So this one, I actually got the patterns. She sent the patterns instead of PDF, and there it is. And it breaks apart into different patterns. It's beautiful. I love that. Hey, no, it's okay. Sorry, I have a dog underneath my feet, and he's looking out the window not liking something. Okay, so I will show you the patterns now. Leo, stop. Scene 1. Scene 2. Now you could do any of these by themselves. The other one, you could not do the pieces by themselves because some of the pieces are at the, like part 1, some of them into part 2. These, you could just stitch them just like this, or you can stitch them in the big in the big scene. Either way, so these are really great patterns. Scene 3. Look at that tree. That is so awesome. I love the red house. Scene 4, because who doesn't like a blue house? That's awesome. Scene 5. Scene 6. Scene 7. I love that fisherman. He's so cute. Scene 8. Scene 9. Scene 10. Scene 11. And scene 12. So once again, I'm going to stitch these, I think, all in one piece. I'm trying to see what size this one is. Because if you stitch the full one, it's 672 stitches by 84. Oh, single one is 56 by 84. This might actually be really cute finished into pillows for my dough bowl. Oh, I'm going to have to think about that. That'd be really, really cute too. I don't know. This is Oak Hill from By the Bay Needle Art. And this is just by itself. That's not part of it, but I just thought it was very pretty with those oak leaves. So those are some that I got from By the Bay Needle Art. Let's see. This is, oh, I won this pattern from Katie Carney. And if you don't watch her, you need to go check her out because she is awesome. And she sent me a card and I won the basket of eggs. So thank you, Katie. So that came in. And then my final piece, and I am so excited about this one. This may be my birthday start because I'm super, super excited about this one. So this is from Bright Needle, and I actually found this company through X Stitch MD. If you don't check out her Flosstube, go check her out. She is awesome. She does beautiful cross stitch projects, but she also does really beautiful, I think it's knitting, not crocheting. I am not a knitter nor a crocheter, but she does beautiful stuff. So check her out. And she showed, I think it was a pattern, or I was looking at her Instagram feed of all the different patterns she had done. And I saw something done by the Bright Needle. I went and was looking them up, and this is called Needle Workshop. Oh my gosh, I am so in love with this pattern. So these are discontinued. I think that the company is no longer available. I got mine on Etsy, or no, eBay for very reasonable. I can't remember what I paid, but it was like a normal pattern price. Look at this floss. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love this. So this is going to be a start. It is, let's see, I'm trying to find a stitch count. I don't see a stitch count right away. Oh, 173 by 132 high. So not bad at all. It is so much fun. I just love that. So that came in. Okay. I also got some Mirabilias. This came in from multiple shops, and it's a little out of hand. Some of these are also from my stash. This isn't all because I have some that are kitted up. Okay, we'll just move on. Love it. I got Alice. I love the kind of Disney inspired ones. This is Cinderella. This is actually one of my favorites, and this is Circle of Friends. I love that. I love the colors, and I love that they did it on a dark fabric. It looks so pretty. Okay. Let's flip through some of these, because we don't need to go through all of them, do we? Lady of Mystery. Some of these are Nora Corbett, so as well. This is actually one that I think, March Aquamarine Fairy. I think she's beautiful stitched up. Leo, no. This is Mediterranean Mermaid. I had no mermaids, so I bought several. Mermaid of Atlantis. She's very pretty. I'm trying to go through this because I think Leo is going to lose his mind. He wants to go outside. Sea Flora. She's very pretty. This is September Sapphire Fairy. Very, very pretty. This is Shakespeare's Fairies, which I think are very pretty. This is another mermaid, Shimmering Mermaid. A lot of these are ones that I did not have in my stash that I really wanted to add to my stash. This is one of my favorites too, the Blossom Collector. This is Foxglove. She's beautiful. Okay, so I showed you some of those because this week's giveaway is the Leaf Collector. So if you would like to see, this is a Nora Corbett. This is not technically a Mirabilia. They're normally a little smaller, a little less beads, although she does have a lot of beads. This is the chart only, but if you would like to stitch her, somewhere in your comment, put leaf. That's all you need to do. You can write me a comment and say, hey, nice to see you, leaf. Doesn't matter. Anything, just put leaf. Okay, and then I have, before I came on here, I generated, so, this is my giveaway from last week was Little House Needleworks Early American Patrick Henry. Okay, so I did Ramen Generator. I had 55 comments. Julie Jenkins won Patrick. So Julie, send me an email at madebymichellemcgraw@gmail.com, or you can send me an instant message on Instagram, Made by Michelle McGraw. You can send me either way, doesn't matter. I need your name and your mailing address, and put on there that you won Patrick, just because it makes it easier. When I go to mail them, I always like to double check I've got the right pattern to the right winner. So send me that. Just so you guys know, I had 55 comments last week. I had 1,900 views. So you have a really good chance of winning a chart on a giveaway. So if you want the Leaf Collector, this is an unopened chart, still sealed. It was a duplicate that I ordered because that's what happens sometimes. I have a weird shadow coming in. So weird. I don't know. Anyhow, Leaf Collector, remember you say leaf, but make sure you comment because 55 comments is not a lot. So you have a 1 out of 55 chance of winning, and that's really good. I mean, some weeks will be more, some weeks will be less, but you have a good chance of winning. So leave me a comment, like and subscribe. I wanted to do a video today because I did have so much to show and some finishing and haul and a little bit of stitching. I did get stitching done. So, you know, leave me a comment. What do you guys think about the family heritage sampler that I'm doing? Neat idea, you would never do it. Leave me a comment, let me know. Okay guys, I'm going to say, see you later.